Oh, I've not unlinked it. There we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. I'm your host, Stephen Downs, and with me I've got Zach and Callum once again. This is our second town special, and a lot's happened in since we've done the last one. We were kind of, talking about where Darren Moore was going to be. I think it was before the Blackburn game. Maybe, I think. So a lot's happened in that time. Darren Moore's been sacked. He was relieved of his duties on Monday. And, John Worthington, club legend, will be taking our game on Saturday against Sheffield Wednesday in what is probably one of the biggest games the club has played in, 3 years, by the playoffs. So we'll get straight into it, really. Obviously, if you want to comment on the video, please do. Any share, like, and subscribe to the channel. But how are we doing, boys? First of all, you having a good week?
Yeah, I'm having a good week. I mean, not entirely unexpected news to see the departure of Darren Moore after what was a pretty terrible outing at Blackburn. You know, we spoke before about it being a must-win situation. And I can't remember whether we spoke before or after Kevin Nagel did that strange video diary on Twitter where he pretty much spelled out that it was win or die for Darren Moore. But the writing was on the wall. Barely, obviously. You go to Blackburn, you get a 1-1, and it was a poor performance. Better than some things we've seen, but not great.
Callum, obviously, Zach, as Callum just said, Kev had to, he came out, made quite a strong video, one of his diaries, and basically said it was do or die at QPR. Like Callum says, I thought the Blackburn game was a little bit better, and I thought the QPR game was better than that, but when he makes statements like, it's a must-win game, and then we go and concede a late equaliser like we did, it was kind of curtains for more, wasn't it?
Yeah, mate. So first of all, yeah, I'm good. Been a busy week, but glad to be on the podcast, mate. Are you okay?
Yes, I'm good, mate. Good,
man. Yeah, I mean, I think if we just rewind 3 weeks prior to that, actually, so I think Plymouth was a must-win game, Blackburn was a must-win game, QPR was a must-win game, and now Wednesday's a must-win game. 11 draws in his tenure. That's killed him, hasn't it? I mean, we just can't score more than one goal. So it's just unsustainable to keep any manager where you can't score and you can't keep clean sheets. So there was no other direction the club could go in, mate. I mean, as nice as a guy Darren Moore is, he's a football manager and it's a results-driven business, and they just want any results on the pitch. I agree with what you both just said. I thought Blackburn was slightly better than what we'd seen before, but again, we're comparing previous games where there was absolutely nothing going forward. QPR, I must admit I wasn't at QPR, I watched it on the phone. So, but what I did see was a team that was a little bit more on the front foot, but just no cutting edge. Absolutely no cutting edge. And Reece Healy playing on the wing. Sign a striker and put him on the wing. Like, just play players where they're meant to play.
But this is one thing I think that's killed him, Callum, where, we've signed some players and he's playing them still in the wrong position. I mean, I thought he was a last roll of a dice for him at QPR when he tried to play 4 at the back, because I don't think he had any other option to not do that. He was backed in such a corner that it was change your style or you're going to lose your job. And yeah, okay, we attacked a little bit more. It was a decent enough goal that we scored, but averagely over his 23 games that he was in charge, we had 3 shots on goal and 37% possession. I mean, that's never going to win you any football matches, is it?
No, and you don't do yourself any favours by, like what Zach was saying, you're playing players out of position, but we brought that up a couple of weeks before when we were talking about Sorba Thomas being ineffective when he's not playing in his natural position. Trying to play Sorba Thomas down the middle, I pinpointed that as an example, right? But you could pick out any number of players from Blackburn, from QPR, even from Plymouth, and say there is no reason why that player wouldn't have had a better game if they weren't playing in the position that they're meant to play in. And yeah, Plymouth, we hadn't made the signings. Blackburn, we'd made the signings, but maybe they couldn't start. At QPR, there was no reason why we couldn't have a more sensible formation that fits the players that we brought into the club. Why he persisted in trying to squeeze round pegs into square holes and get this I don't even know if you could call it a tactic, this sideways backwards movement, we'll call it that, trying to get that working. And it didn't work until we scored, and then we conceded almost immediately. So that ultimately cost him his job.
Were you surprised that on the evening of the QPR game that we didn't see a statement, and therefore did you feel that come Monday morning there was still no news, and maybe that he was going to be given the Wednesday game, even though with what Kevin had said because of the manner of the slightly better performance, Cal?
Yeah, I did. Because for me, if you give him that group of games, we will never have a better chance this season to get consistent points on the board. So for me, I'd have probably waited until I'd fired the pistol until after the Wednesday game, because now the spotlight's going to be on that game, and John Worthington has been in charge of the academy, but he's not had his hands on first team football because he's not been, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's not been the interim coach in recent times because he went to Schofield.
No. Yeah, he's never been the interim coach now.
Imagine your first game as interim coach being yet another relegation 6-pointer.
It's what they live for, though. I don't think there's. I don't have a problem. I don't think with John Worthington coming in. I think it's going to be passion on the touchline. He's one of us. He's absolutely one of us. I'm sick to death of seeing Darren Moore stood there with his body warmer on, hands down by the side, motionless. At least we're going to get a little bit of charisma on Saturday. It's what we all need. We're all going to a Yorkshire derby that John Worthington's been involved in time after time as a player. Yeah, he hadn't managed first team, but what a better occasion to come in, get the players galvanised. Because with what I've seen on Instagram and whatnot, we've got Dell liking the post of him being sacked. You've got past players coming on and liking the post of him being sacked, and that's come from somewhere. Yeah, honestly,
I did find that interesting, Zach. To be honest, that it's very rare, even though a little gesture like that you get a current squad member liking a post about a head coach being sacked. I mean, I don't want to. We can only speculate about what his relationship with the players was like, with in regards to Moore. But the Dell injury didn't really sit quite right with me because he's obviously one of these players that's quite active on social media. I remember he posted the picture of his leg in slightly one of them sort of soft boot cast type things. But even he said, I think he said on that post that he didn't expect to be out that long. So, and obviously he's not been back in the team since, and that was like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I think just on that, I think Dell is injured. I think he's not one of them players that Darren Moore would have kept out of the squad. But I'm not surprised, to be honest with you, that we've got attackers liking posts of Darren Moore being sacked. Would you want to be a forward in this team? I know I wouldn't. Just working on scraps for 90 minutes and then hoping that we get an equaliser. If I were a striker or a winger, I'd be buzzing that he's gone. And I'm delighted that John Worthington's coming because he might get a bit of the ball in the final third of the pitch. But back to just finishing off the John Worthington sort of discussion. When Darren Moore wasn't sacked on Sunday night, I wasn't that shocked because to me, I think the club probably wanted to portray an image of a club that's not just gone into the dressing room after the game and fired Darren Moore on the spot, but I think he knew he was going anyway.
Yeah.
I think he'd probably been given an ultimatum before the QPR fixture that meant.
Well, it had been on social media. But
Yeah, but I mean, the exact words weren't said, were they, that he's fired if we don't win.
Yeah.
But I think then giving ourselves a week to interview, is it 12 candidates? I think I heard on the diary, which is quite a substantial list, given the fact that I probably couldn't even name 12 managers that I'd be interested in coming in at the moment. But I think giving John Worthington the game on Saturday, I mean, I'm going to go to that game fired up. He's like I said, he's one of us, and he's a town guy. He comes to games with his kids. Up the Terriers. It's what we want, a bit of Terrier spirit on Saturday, and go get Chef Wednesday to our ground and let's get at them.
I mean, it is an interesting point, Callum, that Zach raises, that the fact that yes, he's one of us, and he's a legend of the club because of what he's done in the past. He knows what it means to be a town fan and a town player in a big game. I'm pretty sure in his career, I'm sure he scored against Sheffield Wednesday, a winner or something like. But to pin his hopes on a guy, yes, with everything that comes with him, that's so inexperienced in a game that we literally have to win because of the games that are coming afterwards. That's a lot of pressure to unfortunately put on somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, you can look at that as a positive and say the pressure's on. The pressure is on, but I don't think he'll feel like the pressure is on him because, he can go into this with a completely clean slate. He's not got the skeletons in the closet of the previous managers because, like you say, he knows what town should be doing. He'll have seen this squad. He'll know its strengths. And I genuinely think he'll strip it back to back to basics football in the interim, and it'll be possibly even stuff that we've seen before at the very start of the season or the very end of last season, where it was fairly route one. Just try and get the ball over the defensive line and hope that there's a runner to get in there. And the players will be galvanised by him because he's that sort of bloke. He'll just get them up for it. He'll emphasise the importance of it. And I think that can do wonders in a team that's lacking in confidence as well, because every time you go out at the minute, they're just thinking, oh God, the crowd are going to be on top of us if we make a mistake. And so you don't commit yourself. So if he emphasises to them, right lads, it's a clean slate for all of us, just go out and enjoy yourself. I think we could be in for a good game.
Say obviously we're going to go into this game with, I would say, the squad that we've got. I mean, we'll come on to the transfer window in a little bit, but what would be your lads' team? Obviously, now Darren Moore's gone, we don't really know what John Worthington's sort of style is. I mean, yes, he's got a style in the academy, but he's working with first team players now. I mean, what would your lads' team be? I mean, I will go with a back four again. Nichols, I'd have, depending on which fullback's available. Obviously, Headley's injured, but Spencer, I think, did superb against QPR. I thought he was my man of the match. Depends how Hellick is, but then if Hellick's not available, I think you've got to go with the new lad, and possibly Pearson or obviously Pearson or Lees, and I don't know if Jackson's fit, but Jackson as the other fullback, and then you look in midfield. I play a three midfield of Kasumu, Matos, and Jack Radoni. I'd leave Hogg out because I think we just need to be. Everything needs to be sort of driven to go forward to win the game. And then I'd have a front three of Karoma, Thomas, and Rudolovojevic, and I'd put Healy on the bench to bring off. But firstly, Zach, what would you do?
So yeah, just the Spencer point. I mean, he was the man of the match for 92 minutes, right? And that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate what lets us down. We're naive, right? I mean, switching off, it's a good ball in the box, but you've got to get there ahead of the attacker. But so my team would be obviously Nichols in goal. I'd go 4-4-2. Get it forward, proper Neil Warnock football. I'd have right back. I'd have Spencer. I'd have Balker. Obviously Hellick if he's fit. If not, I'd probably have Tom Lees with Matty Pearson coming back. and then I'd have Ben Jackson at left back. I'd have a midfield four of Karoma on one wing and Thomas on the other.
Yeah.
And then I'd play Matos with Kasumu just to get some legs in the midfield, which does mean Jack Radoni misses out, which might seem a little bit bizarre, but it probably don't fit into a 4-4-2. And then I'd play Reece Healy and Radolovic up front.
Cal?
It's going to be really, really boring this now because you've essentially just stolen my plan there. I was going to
Good minds think alike, mate. Good minds think alike.
I was going to go the full Mike Bassett and just 4-4-2, and that's
get it forward down, get it forward.
Lump on, boys, lump on.
Yeah,
and that'll be it. But yeah, I think I'd agree with Zach there in that side, and I'm surprised to hear, Steve, that you're leaving out Jonathan Hogg so readily. You just toss him to the curb.
No. Let's not have any podcast headlines here. No, the fact in midfield is that I just think we need that massive amount of it, because the good thing about one of the things about Sheffield Wednesday that they've had this season is there's a lot of energy in midfield. They've not had much quality, but they do have a lot of energy. So I think we need to deal with that. And I think Kasumu and Matos being the sitting defenders, I'd have obviously one goes and one stays, and then I'd have Jack in front. I think it's very harsh to leave Jack Radoni out, because I think he's played half the season on the left wing, which is just even more bizarre than some of other Moore's decisions to me. I just think he's our creative midfielder in there. I mean, some people will be saying, why ain't Ben Wiles playing? But I don't think Ben Wiles gets in the team. I think he's, he gets on the bench for me, which makes the bench look a lot stronger. But yeah, I find it interesting. Listen, it's all about opinions, and you two have gone with your 4-4-2. I don't think we suit 4-4-2 myself. I don't think we can play that formation.
I don't think I'd employ it as a permanent tactic, but just to get through this sort of turbulent spell of, an interim manager, strip it right back to basics, 4-4-2.
Yeah.
Play it long. None of that playing out from the back. I can't watch that.
I just think we've got to get at Sheff Wednesday from minute one. I think get the fans on side, and I absolutely agree. I don't think 4-4-2 is a long-term solution, but I think it's horses for courses. I think we've got a big game. Realistically, he's going to have 4 days on the grass, probably before the fixture on Saturday. Obviously, probably back in on Tuesday, gives us Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, probably. For him to come up with any sort of plan. And I think every footballer probably throughout the career has played 4-4-2 and knows how to play the system. We have width. We have defenders that defend first and attack second. Having Karoma and Thomas playing their positions that they should be, getting balls into the box. No defender, no centre-half likes defending balls into the box. Nobody likes it. Proved it with QPR on 95th minute, right? Nobody likes to defend balls into the box. And if you've got Reece Healy making runs to the front post, and you've got Radolovic, who's at the back stick causing a few issues, I just think it gives them something different to think about. Wednesday, that being any,
How did you think Radolovic did on against QPR, Zach? Some people are saying we'll call him Big Bojan for anybody who can't pronounce his second name, but he looks a little bit lightweight for a big lad, but he does, he tries to get in there, which I like. He definitely didn't hold back, did he?
No, he didn't. He didn't. What I would say is, again, it's hard to judge the lad when you've got his strike partner playing on the wing, and you've got Thomas playing on the incorrect wing.
Yeah.
So he's feeding on scraps, and that goes back to my point, what I said earlier about like strikers liking social media posts about Darren Moore being sacked. Well, of course you would. You're probably sick to death of feeding on scraps for 90 minutes, hoping that you get even the goal we scored. I mean, it was a well taken goal, but it's scraps. We're feeding on scraps. It's not a high quality goal. That's not come from a good pattern of play. That's come from ball falling on the edge of the box, a miss hit that's fallen to Jack Radoni. And as I just said, he's taken it really well as the lad. And then I've left him out on my side for Saturday. I know. But But yeah, I'll judge him when he gets when balls are being put into the box with high quality from wingers that have got the ability to do that, and he's got another strike partner. Because you've got to remember, if you're a centre half, which I am at a very low level, right? If you're defending one striker in the box between two centre halves, it's one run to follow. One man follows the runner, and the other man attacks the ball. So easy to defend against. If you've got two strikers into the box, you've got Reece Healy making a run across the front stick from somewhere like beyond the penalty spot. As a centre half will be centre half partner, that's so hard to defend against because you're overlapping, you're crossing. So it then gives it lends space at the back stick, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I think on Saturday for a quick fix, putting a plaster over a very open wound at the moment, get the ball into the box. Have Reece Healy running, making runs, and have Big Bojan, as you call him, Fox in the box.
Do you agree, Callum, that it's difficult at the moment to judge the new lads? I know that they've only had like a couple of games, but like Zach says, they've been played out of position or not had anything really to go off.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's nearly impossible. Even if they were being played in the right positions, it must be so difficult to come into a new team that's so devoid of confidence when all you want to do is get in there, prove yourself, and all the other lads are sitting there going, well, this manager will probably play you in goalkeeper or something like that, and it's just so downbeat. You've got to get the players up for it, and I think when you're a new player at a club, your tail's up. You want to get your name on the score sheet. You want to, like we saw from Matos in them first couple of games, just absolutely flying into challenges. Probably should have picked up a couple of cards there, but just wanted to get his feet under the table a little bit. And I think we'll see that now because the shackles are off. There is absolutely no pressure. Obviously, we need to win this game, so there's a little bit of pressure there. But from expectations perspective, the shackles are off because what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to go a little bit left field, and you might score an absolute wonder goal. Yes.
In this, I found it. Sorry, Cal, carry on.
No, mate, go on.
I was just going to say I found it interesting in the statement that he didn't originally mention John Worthington, but then we came out a couple of hours later and we said that we were going to let him have the Sheffield Wednesday game. Did either of you lads think we would have had an appointment made already, or are you not surprised that process has taken the 4 days since we announced Darren Moore? Zach, you go first if you
want. So I'm not really surprised that he wasn't announced on the first post. I think there was a lot of wording around the club wanting to thank Darren Moore for his efforts. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that it was Jake Edwards and Cartwright that put their neck on the line for Darren Moore, and it's not quite worked out. So I think they probably wanted to soften the blow a little bit there, and perhaps a little bit of covering their own backsides a little bit with pointing out the efforts and the commitment that Darren Moore has, and thanking him for being a really nice guy and all that, even though he got us 3 wins. And then the fact that we've not yet appointed someone and give it John Worthington, am I shocked? Probably not, to be honest with you. I mean, we've seen this the majority of the times that Huddersfield Town have gotten rid of a manager in the past. We seem to have 1 or 2 fixtures where we've got an ex-player coming into the dugouts. The last occasion, obviously, we gave Danny Schofield the job. I'm sure that won't happen this time. I think I'll put my neck on the line saying I don't think John Worthington will get it full time. But no, I wasn't shocked, to be honest with you, mate. I think the club didn't particularly want to go in this direction. I think they've been forced to just because of a lack of results. And it doesn't really reflect that well on the start of Jake Edwards' tenure at Huddersfield Town, to be honest with you.
Callum?
I wouldn't say I was surprised because the simple reason was, although we have, as fans, have been talking about Darren Moore possibly, will he go, will he not? I think this was quite a quick decision for the sort of higher ups to make, and I don't think in that scenario you could have interviews for a new manager going on while there is a manager still at the football club. I think that's in fairly bad taste. You know, we're interviewing for your position, but you've not been sacked yet.
Yeah.
I think that's fairly bad taste.
I think it happens everywhere. Though I think I'm probably naive to think that clubs don't interview other managers while they're still managing employment. I mean, it happened with Neil Warnock at Middlesbrough, with Chris Wilder, and I'm not quite sure whether the Darren Moore interview happened while Warnock was in a job. I suspect it probably did, and I also suspect that we probably did start interviewing before Sunday, given the fact that on Kevin's diary on, was it Tuesday, he said that they'd already interviewed several candidates. It's either a very busy day for Jake Cartwright on Monday, or they'd started interviewing last week.
Yeah, I'd say probably, like you say, quite naive to think that, but I don't think that you can come out and say the things that you've said publicly about how much respect you have for Darren Moore as a person and for his resume, as Kevin puts it, and I have to really stop myself every time I hear that. But and then be sort of going behind his back and talking through back channels, you know, unless we don't know, they could have been 100% upfront about the whole thing the whole time and said, look, things are not good enough. We're going to start looking for your replacement. However, if things pick up, then we're happy for you to continue in the role, obviously.
I think it will be interesting to see whether Darren Moore does an exclusive interview with Sky Sports again. That will be interesting.
He'll say about 3 words, won't he? In terms of
group will be one of them. So we'll get on to names now. Obviously, lots and lots of names have floated about. I think we go through them one by one, not all 400, because we'll be here till about next Tuesday. But let's go through some of the main ones. I'll start both boys off with Paul Heckingbottom. He's literally the favourite, the odds-on favourite with the bookies. Obviously, he's unfortunately without his car at the moment, which I'm sure is inconveniencing him quite a lot. But he's the odds-on favourite. Sheffield lad, lives in Barnsley, very local. Obviously, did a an half decent job with Sheffield United. Did a very good job with Barnsley. Callum, thoughts on Heckingbottom?
I quite like the idea if we get it right. And what I mean by that is he has to be given the time and the space to get them players playing his way, because his football looks simple on paper, but probably takes a lot of time to breed into the players. And, he'll get them running through walls. It's essentially his style of football is to just beef up these players, get them, first of all, probably in the right positions, which will be a whirlwind for this squad because they've not done that yet. But, I think it probably won't be positive forward-facing football all the time, but it'll be the sort of football that wins ugly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also wins hearts and minds, which I put on the end of that. Zach?
Yeah. Okay, so it probably wouldn't have been my first pick if I was thinking about managers that I would ideally want in an ideal situation in an ideal world. And that's not because I don't think he's a good manager. I mean, he's got promotion to the Premier League with 90 points out of the Championship, right? So I'm not going to sit here and slate him, because for any manager to do that with any squad is a massive achievement. He did well at Hibs as well. I think he did quite well at Hibs.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Didn't do particularly well at Leeds, did well at Barnsley, did well as caretaker and as gaffer at Sheffield United. So judging him on the teams that he's managed, done a good job. To get a manager that has recently got promotion to the Premier League, if his name wasn't Paul Heckingbottom and it was a foreign name, we'd probably all be sitting here going, what a coup that is. Maybe.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it gets me on the edge of my seat, but honestly, I don't want edge of the seat. I want survival, right? To be honest with you. So, I wouldn't be adverse to it. He's a good guy, another good footballing guy. As you said, from Yorkshire. So he's a northerner. So again, he probably do a little bit better at connecting with the fans. And also when he left Sheffield United, I think there was a lot of Sheffield United fans that perhaps thought it was quite a, to cut his tenure short was maybe a little bit harsh. But again, who are we to judge sacking managers? So yeah. I didn't give you a straight answer there because I don't really know, to be honest with you.
No, fair enough. Well, another guy that's in the frame is Michael Duff, another ex-Barnsley manager. He didn't do so well at Swansea earlier this season, and in fact, the Swans sacked him mainly because I would think that they had a very similar experience to what we did with Darren Moore. That they didn't take to him. They didn't like how he sort of came across. He didn't really have a footballing style that Swansea have, inherited over a number of years, even going back to Martinez in the sort of early 2000s. So, Michael Duff, Callum, does he grab you as town manager?
Not for me. Having seen what I've seen on social media about what Swansea fans were saying, if people didn't like Darren Moore, then there's no point appointing Darren Moore 2.0, which, from what I gather, is what Duff is. His football is very, very similar, quite negative, sideways, backwards, and from what Swansea fans have been saying, just on social media under like public posts and things, if we're linked with him, none of it seems to be negative, not positive, sorry. None of it seems to be positive at all, which is not a note that you want to be starting your tenure on, considering Darren Moore, obviously, with the results, didn't help himself, but it was the first time I've seen a manager probably be properly hounded out of the club via social media.
And Zach?
Duff. So I honestly thought we might have got it. I thought he might have been the man that we got last time around. I know he obviously ended up at Swansea and done a good job at Barnsley, didn't he, as well?
And Cheltenham as well.
Cheltenham, yeah. And also, I think, was he assistant at Burnley as well under Dyche?
Yeah.
Maybe I've made that up. But I think again, probably another good guy. I just want someone charismatic. Like, maybe we were spoilt with Neil Warnock, man. I don't want to bang over all ground because I sound like a broken record, but Duff just doesn't strike me as a charismatic guy that's going to galvanise the fans, galvanise the club, because that's what we need. I mean, we're so disconnected at the moment as a club. I'm not so sure he's the man that's going to come in and do that. But he did well at Barnsley, so again, judging him on his time at Swansea may be a little bit harsh, but not the man for me, Steve.
No. One last one that I'll ask you about before we go to general names is Gary Rowett. Obviously did a decent job at Millwall. Again, left earlier this season. I wouldn't say he was sacked. I think, sacked was the term at the time, but I think it was just a mutual agreement that he left Millwall. Callum, obviously a respected manager, did okay at Derby, went and has done good things at Millwall, got them, into and around the playoffs. I think for the last 4 seasons he's managed them. So what do you think on him?
I think that would be, again, a good appointment, because that Millwall squad that he got that tune out of is not too dissimilar from this town squad. We've got sort of different pieces of a jigsaw that shouldn't really fit together, but sometimes do, and it works really well. And if he can galvanise them like he did that Millwall team, there's no reason why we wouldn't be running through walls for him. He's a good tactician. He's methodical in his ways. He's more charismatic than Darren Moore, but not quite Neil Warnock. So there's a perfect little bit of balance there. But if I think we're gonna struggle to find somebody that's going to appease everybody. So if you can get someone in that can just start getting positive results on the pitch, that'll go a long way in sort of making sure that we don't have another Darren Moore scenario where you come in, it starts to slide, and then by the time you've realised that it's sliding, you can't stop it.
Yeah. Zach?
Yeah, Gary Rowett. So I always think there's a reason why somebody keeps losing the job from championship clubs. And he's been a little bit of a journeyman now around the championship. He's obviously clearly a better manager than I could ever be, but there's a reason why he's lost his job at Millwall. And I don't want to feed on other clubs' scraps. Like, I want us to be a little bit innovative with the next appointment. And I keep saying I want someone charismatic. Honestly, to be truthful, if they stand there like a piece of cardboard and they get us 3 points, I really couldn't care. But I just want someone that's just gonna. Maybe I'm being a little bit like the Huddersfield Town statement when they got rid of Darren Moore. I want results. I want fast attacking, flowing football. I don't think Gary Rowett's the right man. Honestly, I don't know who he is. I don't know. I'm kind of saying no to everyone, but I'm not really giving a solution.
Well, I'll just round off this discussion by reading the names that are on the Sky Bet list. I'm sure everybody knows them. Ekin Potham's currently on the favourite at Sky Bet. Other betting apps are available, by the way. We've got Michael Duff second. John Eustace is third. Obviously, he was at Birmingham. Neil Warnock is fourth. I don't think that will happen. Ruben Sellers is fifth. David Wagner sixth. Alex Neil. John Massinio, which doesn't make absolutely any sense to me. Why would he leave Portsmouth for us?
No.
Pep Linders, obviously Klopp's number two. Nathan Jones, Mark Warburton, Wayne Rooney is at 16-1. Gary Rowett, Frank Lampard, 20-1. Nigel Pearson, Scott Parker. A few Town fans have said that they fancy Scott Parker. I definitely don't. He's at 22-1. Gareth Ainsworth, Jesse Marsh at 33-1, and then you're looking at John Terry, Steve Evans, Gerrard, Houghton, Monk, Hughes, Lennon, Ince, Keane, and Bruce. Obviously, those last couple of names are either madness or they're just people that bet companies put on lists because they can do. Out of those names, give me one name that you both want, or give me the name that you do want. Zach, I'll start with you. You can only have one name.
Oh, that's harsh.
So bearing in mind, I'm saying I want results and I want fast attacking, flowing football. So I was going to say Pep Linders, but I'll contradict you with that because we have no idea what style of play he'd play because he's never managed a team. I mean, you asked for one name, so it's not going to happen, but Neil Warnock.
Okay. Callum?
I'd go with Pep Linders.
I'd love it if we got him, but the thing about him is I don't think he'll want to leave Liverpool until the end of the season.
Yeah, not this year. Now that they're going to win absolutely everything because Klopp said he's leaving.
So I think it's looking
So if you were if in a world where we could pick any manager, right?
Yeah,
you would pick Pep Linders over Neil Warnock.
No, I'd pick Jose Mourinho.
No.
Pick any manager, I would pick not off that list.
No, off that list. So off that list. If somebody said to you now, pick a manager, you'd pick Pep Linders over Neil Warnock.
Yeah.
For what we need now.
But I think he would come in, excite the crowd. I think he's obviously going to play a very similar style to Jurgen Klopp, isn't he? I don't think he's going to be so dissimilar to what Jurgen's doing at Liverpool. So I just don't think Neil Warnock's coming back.
No, that yeah, I agree, but that wasn't the question.
Yeah. I see absolutely no point. I see absolutely no point in kicking the can down the road and being in this position this time next year when Neil Warnock inevitably decides that he doesn't want to work in winter again and leaves. Because then we're in the exact same position and we've got to look for a manager again.
But the question was, if you could pick any manager off that list, who would you pick? And you're absolutely right. We don't want to be in the same position next year, but I also don't want to be in League One next year. And Pep Linders is a great name, but it's a gamble. It's a
everyone on that list is a gamble for this team.
Incorrect. Neil Warnock is not a gamble. He'd get us out of this. Fact.
I don't know,
Fact.
With these new players, I don't know, because you're relying with Neil Warnock, you're relying on him being able to motivate that team, and he could do with the last one because quite a few of those players he knew quite well. Wardy, Rhodes, he knew quite well to get them up to where he needed them to be. But with this team now, he's got players that have never played under Neil Warnock before, and they wouldn't know what he expects. So it's an entirely different prospect, even though we're only how far down the road since he left? Not that far, but it's a different prospect. And I think you're gambling on the fact that he comes in, galvanizes the team, and we don't get relegated, right? And that's all well and good, but then what then? You know, I suppose what I'm saying, and people are probably going to send me death threats for this, but
let's not go down that line.
If we appoint a manager and we go down, I would like to see us stick with that manager for a bit. We've got to give people time to build something.
Yeah, but they would have said that under Moore.
Yeah, I just.
They'd have said that with Darren Moore. Some people are saying we didn't give Darren Moore enough time.
We probably didn't, but I think that's more from a business perspective rather than a football perspective. Kevin Nagel's pumped a lot of money into the club and will do absolutely everything in his power to ensure that he can get the maximum yield on the club, and that can only happen if we're in the Championship.
Yeah,
and that's my point about if we're picking a manager for now, for keeping us in the Championship, there is no better man on this whole entire planet than Neil Warnock.
And I agree.
And we're saying stick with, Pep Linders, for example. What a great name. But if we was to get relegated and stick with a manager, Pep Linders in League One.
But I'm going off.
I couldn't even name a player in League One.
Yeah, but I'm going off. I'm going off what the club statement says and what they're wanting. And I know what you're saying, pick any manager. But I think going off the club statement, Warnock's not coming back. I'd be amazed if he did. Yeah. But I think Pep Linders is perfect for the. I don't think we've any chance of getting him, by the way. But I think he's absolutely perfect.
Yeah, we're having this conversation like the man's leaving Liverpool. It's not happening.
Oh, neither of them names are happening. Neither of them names are happening. Neil Warnock's not coming back, and Pep Linders ain't coming. He's going to be Heckingbottom, but we're having a theoretical conversation about anyone that can.
Oh, Michael Duff. Yeah.
I mean,
so, just to I have the final say. Obviously, today's transfer deadline day. We must apologise. We haven't got our yellow ties on. We've all been busy people, and nobody here is Jim White. But apart from that, although Callum is as charismatic as Jim White, what I wanted to say is in the last sort of 5 hours or whatever we've got left, are we shining anybody? And if we do, what position do you hope it's in, Zach?
Okay, so I don't think we will sign anyone. I was hoping for an attacking midfielder, or a ball play, a ball playing midfielder. I think that's a position that we need to strengthen. And again, I think I said it on the last podcast, probably a left back as well. I don't think we'll sign anyone. There was rumours earlier of Andy Inamoto that was at Cardiff.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I think he's having a medical at Rotherham as we speak. So I think that's a non-starter. So yeah, I'd love to get some more names in. I was doing the calculations as well. I couldn't remember. Have we met the 6 that Kevin promised us, or are we at 5?
No, we've only had 5. We've only had 5.
5. Okay, so again, maybe we're counting Scott High coming back.
We're counting Darren Moore in that.
Yeah. No, he's left. He's not come in. He's left.
And Phillips has come back, hasn't he? Phillips has come back.
No, but if we're counting them as 6,
seven now, Steve. Step 7.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll get anyone in. I'd love to, but I just can't see it.
Cam?
I think it's been made fairly clear. I think Kev's made it fairly clear that they're not expecting to do any more business because of the amount of money they've had to spend in paying off Darren Moore. If that hadn't have happened, I think there'd have been a bit more money to maybe throw at somebody today. Like you say, try and plug a few of them gaps. But as it is, he's had to outlay what I assume is quite an expensive manager considering the way he left Chef Wednesday, and the massive hoo-ha over the wages there. So I imagine he's had to outlay quite a bit of money, and for that we've had to sacrifice that sixth signing.
I think somewhere I saw that we'd still got 4 managers on the payroll.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about 4, but we're definitely paying Mr. Warnock and Mr. Moroff.
Fothergill's one of them, I swear to God.
He probably will be, won't he? What did he get? A 3.5 year contract?
Yeah.
Just to round off the podcast, boys, I'm going to show some of the comments that people have made, and thanks very much for getting in touch, everybody. Score, Zach, for Sheffield Wednesday?
1-1, mate.
1-0. Brilliant. Cal?
I'm going to go 1-0 Town.
Go on. Love the Terriers.
Thanks very much, Blue Terrier, for getting in touch. John Worthington will have the players fighting for each other and give 100%. I think that was made clear by Zach, which is correct. Let's hope they do. Steve Brown, obviously, he's the one of the main presenters. He says, "What about Mark Hughes?" No, thank you, Steve. We're all right. Evening, lads. Thanks very much for Town TV, for Town Fan TV, getting in touch. They also say they had to be a plan B, but it doesn't look likely, and I'm not sure how long it'll take to announce the manager. Well, let's hope it's soon. And we've also got Michael Brown. Vital match up against the Owls this weekend. Had Huddersfield won their match at QPR with wins in spare, it would love to make this weekend match a little more easier with a 6-point gap. Yeah, well, obviously that's why it's important this weekend, with it being the points total at the bottom of the table, Michael. It's going to be so interesting.
I think it's the fixtures after that as well, Steve. I think that probably make it even more vital. If this was the first of the 4 matches that we've just gone through, but we've got some tough games coming up.
This is why, just going back to one of them comments where they said they don't think that, or they don't know how long the managerial recruitment process will take. I hope, and I'm putting all my confidence in the powers that be at Town to make sure that they're going through this process quickly, because for me, we need to have somebody in post, ideally at the start of next week.
I think we'll have someone in by Tuesday, mate,
Yeah. Blue Terrier said if Warnock came back, then Radovojevic would be like, and Healy might as well pat their backs, as Wardy will be playing every game. Well, he is his illegitimate son. He does. Well, I think that's it, lads. Obviously, thanks very much for everybody joining us on this evening of the Huddersfield Town special on the West Yorkshire Football Show. The regular panel will be back in about half an hour's time for our transfer deadline day special. So I'll be back in about an hour's time. I'm going to pop off and have some food, but I'll be back on, and we'll be leading you into the late night to see whether any of our clubs, Leeds, Huddersfield, Bradford, Halifax, even Bradford Park Avenue, although, in non-league there is no transfer deadline day, but they might sign somebody today. You never know. Thanks very much to Zach and Callum. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, guys. Are you at the game on Saturday?
I am. Cal?
We'll see you there.
I am not.
Oh, he's ducking out. He's ducking out. That's it.
Ducking out. Well, I'm going to go
I'll
and
keep you updated, mate, how it's going.
I'm going to go and DM Pat Linders and see if he gets back to me.
Good man. Get him in your car boot. Bring him over.
And on that unrealistic note, good luck with that, Callum, by the way. Zach, have a great Saturday. Hopefully we get the result we need. And cheers, everybody, for coming along and viewing the Town special. We'll get another one back very, very soon. But for now, enjoy your evening. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.